All right. Cozy vibes? Check. Coffee sounds? Check. Good music? Check. Special guests from across the community?
Yes.
Triple check. Okay, once again, it's time to open the doors to the cafe. It's time for a whole new season of Coffee and Carbuncles. Now, all we need is the intro. Hello, dear friend. It is an absolute delight to see you again. I've been away for a few months, but now myself and my cafe are back again. Have you been well? I wonder how your adventures have gone since last we met. Hopefully you've been having fun and making all kinds of new memories. Apologies. After my time away, I'm feeling a bit sentimental. Here, why don't you relax? I'll go ahead and get you a drink, and I can tell you about some very interesting news. Wait here. Recently, I found myself visiting quite a few venues and ran across a very interesting group. Have you ever heard of the dance troupe Clockwork Angels by chance? Not only do they coordinate dance moves to music, but they even incorporate special skills from various jobs from Blue Mage to Scholar. While it wasn't possible at the particular venue I had visited, I've heard they even include some mounts in their performances. After seeing that, after hearing about what they do at other venues, I knew that I had to have their leader, Solara, pay us a visit here at the cafe. Solara and her dance troupe are very interesting, and I'm sure you'll love learning all about them. In fact, she should be here right about now. And just like that, welcome to season 4 of Coffee and Carbuncles, and welcome Solara. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am looking forward to this.
I am very glad that you could be here. As it turns out, Solara and I are both very busy today, and we kept talking about how, we have such tight schedules today. Turns out we have tight schedules because we're going to the same events. So that was interesting to discover. I'm excited for this interview and excited for Solar Solstice tonight.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a very small world when it comes to venues and events. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. We had our rehearsal last night and it went well, and it's going to be a great show. And the audience gets to float in the water, which is, a novel idea. Normally they're standing around with glow sticks, but they get to float this time.
The only thing that makes me sad is this interview will be releasing the day after the event.
That's okay. We have another show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. So if you're listening to this Sunday morning when it releases, come to the show this evening.
It's Wild West Festival this time. Yeehaw.
There you go. You can listen to this Sunday morning, be like, wow, I really want to see Clockwork Angels perform in person. And tonight you get the chance if you're listening to this Sunday. If it's Monday, I'm so sorry.
If it's Monday, come to our show on Thursday at Rainbow Rock.
Oh, well, see,
We're
there you
busy.
go. And if all else fails, I feel like we usually save this for the end of the interview, but if all else
Yes,
fails, there's YouTube.
there is. There is. That's the backup. If you can't see us live, then that's the backup. We also stream, but it's, it's the same as the YouTube, and you'd have to watch it at the same time. So yeah, lots of backups and lots of options, and we are always busy. There's always another show is something we say a lot when it comes to whether you're watching or you're performing and participating. There's always going to be another show, and that is something that I work toward all the time.
For now, we should get started with this show.
Yes. I will try not to derail.
Oh no, please do. I just I remembered stating just like 5 minutes ago. Oh hey, we're both really busy today. It's fine. We'll continue the interview mid performance tonight. It's fine.
Sure. That's fine. You can pop in to our Discord and you can hear me calling all the macros and telling people where to go and what to do. And there is a lot of backstage chatter and a lot of stage directions that go out throughout the entire performance. Tomorrow is going to be insane. So yeah, just wait till you see that video.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I will stop.
No, I mean this is great. You can tell that we're both really excited for tonight, and so it's kind of like a mix of pre-evening jitters and like hype.
Absolutely.
But finally getting back on track, where are you joining me from today?
I am on the East Coast of the US, actually in Maryland, the state
Oh,
no one ever
nice.
talks about.
There's plenty of things people say about Maryland.
I'm sure there are.
I don't recall any of them off the top of my head, but I'm sure they're there.
Exactly. That's fine. But yep, I'm in Maryland.
I live in the Midwest, so I 100% understand the I live in a place no one talks about feeling. So
A flyover state, right? You
sure.
fly over it on your way to somewhere else. Same with Maryland. You drive through it on your way to somewhere else.
Now, as we settle in for this interview, I have a lovely cup of premium green tea for this afternoon. What are you drinking?
Water. Lots and lots of water. And maybe a little bit of iced tea. But mostly
How do you
water.
take your tea?
Out of a bottle.
Sugar, no sugar?
It's lots of sugar. It's extra sweet, pure leaf.
Mm.
And it is my go-to comfort drink as I stress about all of the things, which I do a lot. So you will hear. I will tell you about it.
I can only begin to imagine. Before we started recording, we had actually just got done talking about how Solara is nervous for this weekend's performances of Clockwork Angels, and I'm nervous about starting the new season of this podcast. And so, like I said, together we're kind of this like mix of like excitement and nerves, and it's making for an interesting mix so far.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But we're getting there. We're getting
Yeah.
there, and that is what matters. But before we talk about Clockwork Angels, I mean, really in depth, more than we have already, I want to know about you as a person. Tell me about the human being behind Solara of Clockwork Angels. Like, tell me about your background and maybe your hobbies.
There is time for hobbies. Who has time for hobbies? This is what I do. It's what I live for. I am, let's see. I've danced casually in the real world, not anything performing, but just, ballet and modern and a little bit of tap that I don't currently have the time for, and I wish I did. I'm going to one day make more time for it. Um, but I've been a number of different things professionally. I've taught, I was a high school math teacher for a little while. I've done computer programming. I've worked at a Renaissance festival for real, like the festival tonight. So I've done a bunch of different things. And this is, and I'll talk about this more later too, I'm sure. But this macrodancing pulls everything together that I've ever done. And it's just fantastic. This is my day job, and my night job, and I spend all of my waking hours on this and some of my sleeping ones. I will dream about performances. So There's not a whole lot of time for anything else. I have a pool outside that I rarely use, but it's pretty to look at.
You know, in all my time doing Final Fantasy 14 stuff and doing the podcast, I keep expecting to dream about it, but admit it, I never have.
It's stressful.
I imagine.
Be- because I'll have dreams where things go wrong in performances.
Oh
And then I wake up
no!
feeling that. And it's like, okay, how do I plan for that not to happen? Or if it does happen, what's the contingency plan to deal with it? Um, so, yeah.
I think
Solution is not to sleep.
yeah, I imagine. I think the weirdest dream I've ever had similar to that is there was a work week where I was working a lot of overtime. I was really stressing about this thing for a client, and I had a dream where my work desk turned into a pile of folders, and then I just decided to sleep on top of that pile of folders instead of going home and going to bed. And
That's
that was
great.
a very weird dream. I told my boss about that, and he's like, maybe after this week you need some time off. It's like maybe.
Most definitely. That is definitely the clue that you are working too hard. If you were dreaming about sleeping at work.
Now, the one thing you said that I do want to push back on a little is you cannot say, "Oh, I just casually dance," and then be like, "By the way, I do ballet." Ballet is not casual. Like casually dancing is dancing in front of a mirror. Ballet is a ton of work.
It is.
Oh
But I didn't
goodness.
say I was any good at it. I love to do it. But I am definitely not very good at it. But yeah, it's not that is not my day job. Like I haven't performed, I'll take classes or just like walk around the house and, you know, go into fifth position and, whatever. But yeah, it's still a casual thing. I wish, I had like the balance to pursue that. That would be awesome. I do not. I do not. I cannot spot to save my life. Yeah, you spin and you're supposed to whip your neck around so you can not get dizzy while you're spinning. I cannot do that.
It is such a physically demanding activity.
It really is.
And I feel like a lot of times people look more at physical sports, like for instance, American football, and they're like, "Oh, well, ballet doesn't look like that." And I'm like, "No, but the core strength, the leg strength you need, the coordination."
The control. You absolutely control every inch of your body exactly where it's supposed to be, down to the tips of your fingers, the tips of your toes. It's brutal. If you do that at a very high level, it is absolutely brutal. And like I said, I'm a casual when it comes to that. You're not going to see me, doing huge arabesque leaps and things like that. No.
I'm surprised that 14 doesn't have more like ballet style emotes and stuff like that. I mean, now that I think about it, I am a little surprised about that. Outside of some stuff related to Shiva, I don't think we really have much ballet coded stuff in 14.
There are a few things here and there that are race specific or gender specific that look similar. Like there's a couple of idle poses on Elazin or Lala's actually that look like a couple of ballet positions, but beyond some of the dancer job actions with the way they move their bodies during like standard step and the steps that you stack in there, they are definitely taking inspiration from ballet poses, and clearly the names of the abilities themselves,
That's
jeté,
true.
that's is a jump in ballet. So it's there, but it would be nice if there were more. It would be simply be nice if there were just more dances. That'd be great. we'd make use of them.
Oh, I
But
bet.
we definitely work within whatever the framework is, which is a challenge. But yeah, I'd love to have some good pirouettes. That'd be great.
I was just thinking that'd be great. I'm getting sidetracked. My brain's thinking like about like macro ballet dancing.
Hmm.
That that would be incredible.
I mean, we do all kinds of different styles of of music and therefore dancing along with it. We tend to, and I've mentioned this before, a lot of our stuff is very flashy, but we don't. Not everything we do is like that. There are some songs where it is really just about the moving and coordinating the dance itself, as opposed to like the job actions and the effects. So we do all kinds of things. I take my inspiration from everywhere.
We will get into that later, but I definitely can tell from the YouTube videos. I mean, there's a wide variety of music that I've seen in your videos, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised. I mean, everything from like heavy metal to Disney.
Hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yes. Even sometimes in the same show, but not normally in the same show.
So, how did you come across Final Fantasy? What was your first introduction, would you say, to Final Fantasy like as a franchise?
So, 14 is my first and only Final Fantasy game. When I was playing a different MMO, I had a friend who shared a G pose, just a screenshot. And I was intrigued because I was like, you can't do that in the current game that I was playing. You can't, do those different poses. And it was vanilla too. It wasn't, anything custom. Uh, and he shared it. And I was like, huh, that looks really interesting. Maybe one day, if I have the time, I will give that a shot. I tend to only play one game at a time. So at that time, I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and that was my life. And then I stopped playing that for a little while. And when I was looking for a new game, I started to look up Final Fantasy again. Thinking back to the past, and I saw that there was a free trial, so I figured I'd give it a shot. So I started as a free trial account, and here we are.
So, what was it like starting in 14? I mean, did you well, I should ask, around what expansion did you start playing?
Just after Shadowbringers. It was post Shadowbringers. I think it was prior to, maybe it was around 5.3, something like that. It was April of 2022, 2022, 2021. That was so long ago. Um, but yeah, it was between Shadowbringers and Endwalker. It was before they actually announced Endwalker. Um, so it was right in the spring of that year. So I got through Shadowbringers and I cried my eyes out through Shadowbringers because it was tragic. I was so upset. And then once I finished MSQ, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? So I started to search out, venues and things because I had been involved in that in Star Wars, in the venue scene. Um, so I did that and I found some friends. But starting out, it was mostly playing alone. I started as a black mage and then eventually converted over to white mage, because white mage actually plays for me the same way my mains in Star Wars did. And it's the same thought process for me. It's like a bunch of raw healing, and it was easy. I could do it. It was easy. It was also good for queues. I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time waiting like I did when I was a DPS. And then once I started dancing, I had to have everything. And I learned something new every day about this game. And now I have friends to share all the things I learn with.
So, how did you get started dancing in 14?
I love telling this story.
I'm all ears, please.
It was actually when like I said, I started to seek out venues, and I happened to walk into one that had an in-house dance troupe. Of course, like most people who go into a venue who have no idea about anything. They never notice the dancers on stage until someone points them out. So one of the staff of that venue pointed the stage out to me and said, "Hey, are you watching this?" And I said, "No, what are you talking about?" And then they shared the SciTube link so that I had the music, and we used SciTube too. And then I watched the person on stage coordinate their emotes and their job actions and everything with the music, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do that." And that was it. After that, it was just I got involved with um, a small community that was doing macro dancing, and then from there I joined a different troupe, and I performed with them for a little while, and I learned how to choreograph. I learned a bunch of different things about macros, and then eventually, I went out on my own. But yeah, I happened to walk into a venue one night, and there it was.
Funny enough, I've heard a lot of horror stories that also start with I walked into a venue one night and there it was.
Oh, I'm sure. Those have happened too, but this was the positive one.
I say as someone who, usually helps promote venues on his channel, I'm not poking at venues, but we all definitely have venue horror stories. It happens.
Yes. Sometimes you walk into a venue and there's this group on stage and there's fire everywhere. And you're going, what is going on? That's us, by the way.
I will never forget the first time that I'm just hanging out at a venue and suddenly my character gets flamethrowered, and I flamethrowered is not a verb, I think, but here we are. And
It is
I'm
now.
so confused about what's going on, and then I look up on stage and there's like 5 other machinists also using flamethrower emotes, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, okay."
That's a thing.
And then there was a link to a Twitch channel, and so been there, done that.
Yep. It's the best. It really is.
I'm curious to ask though, you've performed IRL, you've performed in 14. Do you think, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, sorry.
It's okay.
Do you feel like you're able to take stuff from performing IRL, your ballet background, for instance, tap dance, and are you able to directly apply any of that to dancing in 14?
Absolutely, yes. All the time. It's actually very validating to see some of the things that we do within Clockwork Angels um, being talked about by professional choreographers and professional dancers. The routines that we have and the way we treat things. It is just like the only thing we are not doing in game is moving our bodies, or moving our real bodies. Everything else, the jargon we use and the scheduling, it's all based in dance companies and theater companies. It's all of that same kind of thing. So it's directly applied. It's great because, when I need to figure out something, I have, if there's a problem I need to solve, I go and look at, well, how does the Washington Ballet handle it? And I look at their information. Or I'll go and, I'll look at a theater company. Well, how do they handle this? How do they handle like advertising? How do they handle um, artistic direction, things like that. I can go to real world sources and, pull that information in. Um, I'm very serious about this. So I will try to, find things where I can.
I love that. I mean, I love that I feel like there's kind of a perception that when it comes to anything macro related or some type of performance, whether that be macro dancing, theater, what have you, there's sort of this assumption that it's like clicking 2 or 3 buttons and then everything happens. But I mean, there is, from my experience speaking with you and speaking with people who do like musical band stuff in 14, theater stuff in 14, there is so much coordination that not only do you see people treat it as though they were doing it IRL, but you see almost by necessity that same level of planning, that same level of just intricate detail in everything. And I think that is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it is, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of planning. Um, and I think I was saying earlier, if you pop into our voice chat at any point in time during rehearsal or performance, you're going to hear all of those stage directions. It's time to get moving. All right, off the stage, on the stage. Make sure you're doing this. Check your, check your clothes. Check your shoes. So yeah, it is. It is just like a real community, theater troupe or dance company. Sometimes it is, however, you hit the button and things happen. There are songs where it's just like you go there. We call them park and barks, because you go and you stand on your spot on stage, and you just click the buttons. Of course, you have to click them when you're supposed to click them, and there are different mechanisms we use to keep everybody together. But yeah, you're just standing there clicking the buttons. You don't need to know. You don't even need to know what they're doing. You just clicking the buttons and hoping for the best. But as you've seen, there are a lot of times where I have the dancers moving, and that takes a lot of coordination. But yeah, sometimes it's relaxing to just stand there and hit the button and let it happen.
I imagine after several hours of trying to coordinate and stress and being all nervous before a performance, I imagine just being able to click like 2 or 3 buttons is sometimes probably feeling like a godsend.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like a mini vacation in the middle of the show. You just stand there and hit the buttons. Especially if it's someone else in charge of the song. That means I don't even have to call them. I just have to stand there and click the button. Great.
I mean, I'm glad. Do you work those kind of things into like mid performance then to give yourself a break intentionally, or is it just kind of how the performance ends up flowing?
The priority for performance is the flow. And generally not, who gets, to take a break. So it's kind of like a surprise. Oh, I have there's somebody else doing a solo here. I can go take a drink of water. um, but sometimes we have longer performances, sometimes because we'll perform up to like 2 hours, maybe a little over 2 hours. I'll try to build in, spaces with, a couple of solos together where, okay, this is your bathroom break in the middle of the show. If you need to go, go now. But most of the time it's our sweet spot is an hour for performance, for a set length. And sometimes it's all go, go, go. It's like you start and you do not stop until the end. And then sometimes it's, a whole series of solos or duets. So everybody gets to take a break. You have one song that you come in and do, and the rest of it you're just watching and enjoying. Maybe I should be building in breaks.
That makes me curious. Do you do other type of performances outside of Clockwork Angels? Like, are you ever caught just solo barding in the middle of Gridania or anything?
So I personally, I do have solo performances. Um, they're rare because with Clockwork Angels, I generally don't have a lot of time to go out on my own. A lot of time or macro space because it is limited, or gear set space, things like that. But like next weekend, I have a solo performance at a different festival. But a lot of my dancers, a lot of my angels, they will go out and they will have their own, solo performances at different festivals or different venues. Sometimes we all have to coordinate, because we are all performing our own things at a particular festival. And it's like, okay, well, we don't want to double dip on anybody's songs. So like, all right, are you performing this one here and that one here? And one of my angels, she has her own troupe that we frequently will end up, at the same places. They'll go on before us, and then we'll go on. So it's like I have to build in some space for her and her dancers, like at the beginning of a show, so that they can actually, have that bathroom break before they start the Clockwork Angels show. But yeah, I mean, you generally won't find me dancing in Gridania or Limsa. If I am actively working on, choreographing something, I'm probably at my house or at the Dancer Temple in Thavner. That place I love. I love being out, in the open world and, working on things. It's been a long time since we've done any kind of pop-up where we just go somewhere and, do a couple songs. It's been a couple years since we've done that. But it's happened. It's happened. And every once in a while, we'll go find open stages. We look at the party finder for the night and say, okay, well, there are a couple places that have open stages. Most of the time when it's an open stage, it's an open stage for a bard. So we go and we talk in the owner and say, hey, this is what we do. We're not bards, but can we have some space on your stage? And, we just get to dance without it being a really big formal thing and just show up and dance. I do have dancers who do dance in Limsa all the time. Some of my angels just like to hang out in Limsa and they'll dance there for anybody. And it's great because that means new fans.
Free advertising, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I want to circle back to something you said. As someone who was an anthropology major in college and who finds the mixture of video game and real life and that crossover fascinating, you said that you choose to hang out at the Dancer Temple in Thavner?
Yes.
That's interesting to me. Like, talk more about that.
First off, it's beautiful. And it has multiple levels, and it has that design out front where I can place things if I know I'm working on something that has some directional or movement. So functionally, it has a lot of good things for the way I choreograph. It's also, there's fewer distractions. I'm not close enough to check my retainers every hour. And nobody's going to pop in and say hi or ask me for something if I'm out there. And I also have to, there's weather and, day night cycles. So I get to see how things look in different circumstances. I do get a little distracted when the hunt trains go by because I love hunt trains. But yeah, it's, and plus it's the Dancer Temple. Why wouldn't I? Everyone has their space where they like to work. Some people like to go, to different spots in housing wards or at somewhere else in the open world, and that one happens to be mine. So if I'm in Thavner, that's probably where I am and what I'm doing. Or the top of the castle in Ilmeg. One of the two.
That is really neat. I like that. And that makes a lot of sense. Huh. I just find that really cool.
One day we'll do a show there.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. That would be great.
One of the biggest problems with doing open world shows in later expansion areas is not everyone can get there. We had a performance in Living Memory back in March, and we were in front of the castle, and it was gorgeous. I want to go back there so badly, but not everyone can get there. You have to be almost all the way through Dawn Trail to get there, and then hopefully I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spoiler that. But it's gorgeous. When you have it at the right time in the story, it's gorgeous. So it was actually, I had to get a few of my dancers at that time. They needed to finish the post Dawn Trail patches so that they could be there. But yeah, it's, so Thavner is, there's a barrier there. people who are just starting out or want to bring an alt. That's why we go to Materia, so that everyone can bring their main to Materia and not have to worry about it. But Materia poses its own challenges for us. You'll see some of them tonight. Well, I'll see some of them tonight.
Those who are there will see some of them tonight.
Yes. Those who are there will see them tonight. They probably won't notice, but I will.
Well, in the second half of this interview, I look forward to hearing all about the challenges of doing Clockwork Angels, how you set it up, how it got started, all of that. For now, I think that Solara and I are going to give our vocal cords a little bit of a rest, and we're going to take a break, and we will be back. Though, I don't normally do this. If you have time, I would suggest pausing this interview at the break, taking a minute, going and checking out the Clockwork Angels YouTube channel, and watch 1 or 2 videos before the second half of this interview. Because if you're not familiar with Clockwork Angels or Macrodancing, or have not recently seen a performance of theirs, then I think that watching 1 or 2 performances will really help you understand more of the detailed stuff we get into during part 2 of this interview. And I highly encourage you to do so. So, with that said, Solara and I will be back in a bit. See you then.
See you in a few.
All right, Solara and I are back, and we are ready to dive in to talking about Clockwork Angels. I feel like we talked about it quite a bit during part 1. Solara and I both admitted during the break that we're both really excited to talk about it. Me from a fan standpoint, and her as from an entertainment standpoint, but also more of a backstage choreographer standpoint. And so for both of us not to just fully dive in during part 1 was a bit of an exercise in restraint. I think that's fair to say.
Yes, it was.
But here we are at part 2 of the interview, which is all about Clockwork Angels. So now we are ready to dive in with you, dear listener.
Let's go.
All right. So to start us off, you've described Clockwork Angels as, and I quote, a macrodance company or a macrodance troupe. What is macrodancing?
So macrodancing is, we call it the technical art of timing in-game emotes, job actions, and motion to music. Most of the job action, or most of the things you can do in game, can be activated with a text command, and you can put those text commands into macros. And so we spend lots of time putting them together to make a very unique entertainment experience within Final Fantasy. It's not something you can do just anywhere, but yeah, and it's technical because it's actually a lot of coding. The macros within Final Fantasy, they have their own language, their own syntax, like any other programming language. Some things work, some things don't. If you have things in the wrong order, it's not going to work. Sometimes if you have it in the right order, it might not work. So, and it's an art because you're creating, and you are bringing some kind of idea to life, so that you can see it. So at least that is my definition of macro dancing.
I like it. I mean, I think it's a pretty thorough definition. On top of that, I would say that macro dancing, a big part of it is not just coordinating emotes and job skills to perform a dance, but also then coordinating that with music.
Yes.
And that obviously having its own challenges, especially when it comes to different types of like tempo and rhythm and all
Hmm.
that. So,
Yes, most definitely.
roughly how many people are part of Clockwork Angels? Because initially I thought that, like with some bands I've seen, it might just be you or you and one other person, and then a series of basically bot controlled side characters. But it sounds like you have a full dance troupe on your hands.
Yes. Every character that you see on stage has a real person behind them, a real person clicking buttons and listening to directions. Um, right now, we have 16 angels, including myself, and one very brilliant photographer who works with us for special art projects. And that's where we are right now. This past year, we grew so fast, and we actually hit a point where I could not manage it anymore, with so many different people. I think we were up to about 30 dancers. Um, and last summer, our third anniversary performance was extraordinarily long, and we had 21 people on stage in a few songs at the same time. And like I said, those are all individual people. So if you can imagine trying to coordinate the schedules of that many people, who live all over the world. We have, most of my angels are in the United States. We had a few in Canada. We have a few in the UK. And, every once in a while we get someone from a different place, uh, outside of those. But you're dealing with time zones and work schedules and erratic sleep schedules and just real life obligations. So coordinating that many people was so difficult, along with staff, shot runners and photographers and you name it, we had it. I've scaled back. I've actually capped our membership, at 24 because I think that is a good number. But right now we're at 16. So possibly later in the fall, we may start opening up for new applications for new dancers. But that's, maybe in the fall. But yeah, we are all real people with real lives. I think, not to out my dancers, but our average age is fairly high. Um, Yeah, so you're dealing with people who have families, who have real jobs, and they work whatever hours, they have their careers. So it's always fun trying to figure out. It's a puzzle that I have to figure out every week.
I mean, I think it's just amazing that you can coordinate all of that together. I think that's really impressive.
Thank you. It takes a lot of work.
I imagine so. How do you do that? I mean, are you individually keeping track of it? Is everyone like using a Google Doc for their time availability, or what does that usually look like? Or is it just, hey, there's an event coming up, who's available?
Yes. No. We usually, to coordinate everyone's schedule, we have a tool called When to Meet. It creates a heat map of your availability. So I basically lay out, these are the times where we possibly could have a rehearsal. Please mark your availability during those blocks of time. Our core hours, if you want to think about it that way, are between 7 p.m. And 11 p.m. Eastern time. That's when most of our shows are. That's when most of our rehearsals are. That's when most of our, other events, our social events, whatever we're doing, that's during those hours, throughout the week, and throughout the weekend. Every once in a while, there'll be something outside of those hours. But everything is voluntary. Everything in Clockwork Angels is voluntary. I'm the only one who has to be there for everything. So it's basically during our show cycle, and I'll get into our show cycle later, but I say we have a show coming up, in whatever, this is the date and the time for the show. If you want to be in it, sign up for things, and then we'll figure out the schedule from there, the rehearsal schedule after that. So you don't need, if there's a performance that doesn't work with your schedule, just don't sign up for it. And then you don't have to worry about the rehearsals or anything else. But if you do sign up for it, then you have to go to the rehearsals. They're required. And do all the prep and everything else that you need to do in order to perform. But yeah, when to meet is an excellent tool. It's very useful.
Let's talk about the performance planning side of things for a minute. About how far in advance are you usually planning a show or starting rehearsals?
Well, it depends on the show. Some take longer than others. However, our show cycle is about 6 to 8 weeks prior to the performance actually happening, is when we first start talking about it. And like I have an entire process. It's a pretty formal process at this point because that's what works best for us. But as soon as I get a request for a performance, or I'd say we're going to do, host our own or whatever it is, then that's when the planning starts. Even if it's just like a little thought in the back of my head, we're going to be on this stage in 3 months. Start thinking about what you want to do with that. But formally, it's 6 to 8 weeks. And we use Discord to coordinate everything. So there are channels and threads. They get created, and then I notify all of my angels and say, hey, there's a show. This is the timeline for the show. I try to give them as much time as possible to create for any particular show or just to create in general. And then, if there's something that they've done before, then we can pull it into a particular performance. Rehearsals generally start about 2 weeks before the performance. We have group rehearsals that are just smaller groups for the different songs. And then we'll have a full formal dress rehearsal sometime in the week before the performance. Sometimes there's multiple, both group rehearsals and dress rehearsals. So it all depends on what's going on with that particular show. Like the show that's tomorrow, there is a new song in it that has a significant amount of movement in it. So that song had its own rehearsals, not this past week, but the week before. And then even again this past week. And we practiced it again, before dress rehearsal. And I will have it open for more rehearsals tomorrow afternoon, just in case anybody wants a last minute refresher. So it really depends. The Super Bowl performance that we did in February had a couple of weeks worth of solid rehearsals because it was so much. And I was so impressed and proud of my angels with that performance. They did so well with it. But yeah, it's a lot of work. And then, once we get to performance day, like today, I'm a nervous wreck all day long with all of the last minute things. And I make sure that all of my dancers are there before we're supposed to, before we're supposed to perform. I talk about them too much and I start crying because I love my dancers, my angels.
Aww. I hope they hear that. Like, I hope they listen to this and they hear that and they smile.
I hope they do too.
As far as you performing at events, do you usually get asked by events and venues to be part of it, or are you more like keeping an eye out for upcoming events that are looking for performances, or how does that coordination work?
It is a mix. We are resident performers at Crossroads and the Aether Entertainer Cafe, the AE Cafe, and they have their monthly openings. So we do those. And that's just a regular thing. We do those every month, unless discussed otherwise. Then sometimes those venue owners will bring us other events or other venues that they are involved with or collaborating with. Sometimes they come to us, and I have an entire form for performance requests. Sometimes it'll be someone out of the blue who just heard of us from a friend of a friend, or saw our YouTube channel, and they want us to come to their venue or their event. Sometimes I keep an eye out. Like the Solstice Fair tonight, that came about because I happened to see it on Twitter. So I reached out. I'm like, would you consider having macro dancers along with the rest of your entertainment? Because as much as we've been around, macro dancing still isn't a completely known art within Final Fantasy. You still have people go, what are you talking about? I don't know anything. So that's on us who perform to go out and find new audiences, to spread the love, spread the joy. And then there are some things that we host on our own. When we have, I have stages. I have properties in various places, and so do many of my dancers. Or we'll just we'll use the open world, and we'll host something on our own. Our next thing that we're hosting on our own is in July. We'll talk about that later too. So it is a mix. We tend to be booked out 2 or 3 months ahead of time, which is great because that allows for a significant amount of planning. Sometimes we'll get a last minute request. Those are rare. They used to happen far more, they used to happen far more often, but they are rare at this point. And, if we can do it, if it's something that I can, squeeze in, and I have, angels and dancers who are willing to do it, then we'll put together something. We can, I don't want to advertise it, but we can actually spin up a show pretty quickly. We don't necessarily need 6 to 8 weeks, but the more time we have, the better the show is going to be. Because then we can customize it. They come from everywhere. If I can get us everywhere, in all the events, in all the venues, that'd be great. We don't have that kind of time, but it would be really nice.
Tell me about that customization of performance. I mean, like I said before, I've noticed that you have a wide variety of song and music types. How do you take a song and coordinate dance to it? I guess I'm wondering, how does your song selection work? Do you hear a song and you're like, I bet I could coordinate a macro dance to that? Or is it more of like a macro dance in search of a song to go with?
For everyone, it is different. Every choreographer will have their own process, whatever sparks their inspiration. For me in particular, I cannot listen to any song at this point without evaluating it for its macro dance potential. There are some songs it's like, okay, let me think. Okay, there's nothing. We'll move on. Other times I will hear a song and I will have to put my head down because the inspiration hits so hard that I can see it. And I'm a very visual person when it comes to dancing and my choreography. So, sometimes it's just like I know exactly what I want to happen here. I can see it. I can map it out. Before the song is done, I have it mapped out in my head. Sometimes other songs are a little more of a struggle. Like, I know there is a moment here and a moment there. This is what I want to happen. But then I have to fill in the rest of the space. So it's, it depends. But for me, I listen to a lot of different music. And, throughout my life, just a lot of different music. And it's like, okay, well, I like this one. I think I can do something with this. So it's going on my list. I have an entire Discord server of ideas, of just songs with notes next to them saying, I want to do this, with this class or in this location, organized by artist or theme. So it's, that's my process. Some people are, work the other way. They see a new emote and you can always tell when a new emote comes out because all of my dancers are finding ways to use it. It shows up in all of the songs that are getting choreographed at that point in time. You know, when Runway came out, Runway Walk, it was everywhere. I can't wait to get Taco next week because I already know where I'm going to use it.
When is the blown away emote dropping in a performance?
I have it in a song tomorrow.
Oh, nice. That
It
is
doesn't
quick.
take long. It does not take long. One of my angels, she was writing, you know, that morning. She was in the middle of a song and the emote was dropped and it went into that song that morning. So, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, when does that song show up in a performance? Because I tell my dancers all the time, write what makes your heart happy. So there are things that get choreographed. There are songs that have dances for them that never make it into a Clockwork Angels performance. And that's okay because, you know, that dancer was inspired at that point in time and they went out and created something. And there are other opportunities out there for them to maybe use those dances. But yeah, it's like some of them are always, it's like their bread and butter. They're just always choreographing, always writing something new. And like I said, it's different for everybody. That is how I pick songs for myself. Did you want to talk about how I pick songs for set lists?
I'm down for hearing about it, yeah.
So
You
that's
bet.
always a challenge. Most of the time when we get a request for performance, the requester has an idea in mind. They have a theme or a vibe, or it's, you know, whatever their event is. It's, you know, it's a celebration, or is it a Renaissance fair? Or, you know, they have a location, they have a stage already built. And a lot of our set list is determined by that theme, by the stage, and by who might be available for it. The Living Memory show I was talking about earlier, when when the organizer sent me the location and I went there and I'm like, I know exactly what I want to do with this space. um, and at that point, I made a list of the songs I wanted to use, things that had already been done, and things that I was working on at the time. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. And then that's how that set list came to be. Sometimes I just, it's the entire show. And I'm like, I know this is what's going to happen. Other times it's completely open. And I'll ask all of my angels, I'll make an open call for them to submit songs. We have another formal process for angels to submit, songs to set lists. And, then I will take whatever they give me and it'll go on the set and then I'll craft around it. Sometimes, our monthly Crossroads show doesn't always have a theme. And that means that we have freedom. And, Kaz and Willow and Doc are wonderful. They are the 3 co-owners of Crossroads. They are wonderful at letting me have freedom to just make the shows awesome. And then I'll get some ideas from my angels, or they will somehow or another, they will submit some songs all together. And it's like, there's a vibe here that I was not expecting, but I can work with it. So then, like I said, I'll fill in the gaps and craft around it. And that's always fun because then we get to dress rehearsal and it's like, oh, that's what you did. Sometimes like the vibes will get really, really heavy. Or there was one performance where I call it my sob set, where it was very sad. A lot of the songs were, they were love songs, but they were sad love songs. And but it was the entire set. It was beautiful, but it was sad. I try not to have too many sad songs altogether anymore. I don't need anybody crying at the end of the show. Not that it hasn't happened. Because sometimes a lot of people connect with music in particular.
Right.
They may not connect with, the dance that's happening, but they connect with the song and the dance enhances the song for them. And So there will be a lot of emotions. People say I'm crying in the audience, or they'll be really hyped up because it's their favorite song, and they've never known anyone else who's ever heard that song before, and suddenly it's being performed in front of them, and it's mind blowing. So it's a lot of different. It's all situational. It all depends, and it's a process that takes a lot of work to make sure it all fits together and it flows. Tonal whiplash can be fun, but it's not normally something that I try to do. I try to, actually have an ebb and flow to the full performance so that it feels like one big thing instead of, just a weird showcase of random songs put together. Not that that doesn't happen sometimes, but I try.
Now that I think about it, I actually realized that there's a question I should have asked probably more towards the start of part 2 of this interview. But since we're here anyway, where does the name Clockwork Angels come from? Like, why that name for your dance troupe?
It's a Rush song. I am a fairly rabid Rush fan. Rush, the band from Canada, those three old guys. But it's one of their songs from an album of the same name, Clockwork Angels. And there is a lyric in the song that goes, synchronized and graceful. They move like living things. And that's us. That's what we do. And I've used that name for other things. For a little while, I was going to have a bard quartet, and I was going to use the name for them. But when I got to the point where my solo act became something more, I needed a name, and that was the most obvious choice because that's what we are. I mean, because our characters, they're not real, right? They are digital approximations of real people, but we make them move. We make them move.
Interesting. Oh. I can't say I'm familiar with the song, unfortunately, but I'm definitely going to look it up now.
It is in the Super Bowl show. We rarely do it because it's a long song. It is 7 minutes. It is a slog sometimes. But every once in a while, I get to sneak it into a performance, and it's great. We actually, a couple of years ago, we were working with another fantastic photographer. And that photographer took us into one of the Alliance raids. It wasn't Monastery. It was Lighthouse. They're right around a lighthouse. And the goal was to go in and perform that song over and over as they took video and pictures. And the pictures that came out of that were astounding. You can actually find them in our Discord. But by the time we were done, I think like I said, it's a 7-minute song. So we probably did it like 10 times inside of this Alliance raid. And it was just us. We went in unsynced. And we had to kill everything first. And then we would go back and, perform the song. We actually performed it with that big droid dancing behind us. But by the end, everyone's singing. We're all in voice chat together, just singing the song. And it was great.
That sounds awesome. I mean, I'm sure it was an amazing time.
It was. One of my favorite memories of things that we've done.
Speaking of, as a person who's spending so much time coordinating this and talking about your dancers so affectionately as you do, if you were to sum it up, what makes this project so special for you? Like, what drives you to have these elaborate Macrodance performances and spend the past 4 years just taking all this time and effort to make Clockwork Angels happen?
I'm not going to cry. I'm going to cry. But I'm
You
going
can
to try
if you
to
want.
keep it
That's
together.
fine. Go
I'm going to try
ahead.
to keep it together.
I believe in you.
With Clockwork Angels and, my dancers, we started out as, a little ragtag group of friends. we're flying by the seat of our pants, just trying to get, trying to do things and trying to just create and have fun. And slowly it became something more. Obviously, I love dancing and I love music. And Clockwork Angels presents this puzzle to me every week that is a challenge to solve, whether it's scheduling or people or, stages, whatever it is. So this whole thing, it checks all my boxes, right? But not only that, we make magic. It's, when we have new people who come in and they've never seen us before and they watch a performance and their mind is just absolutely blown. It's wonderful because we're showing them there's something in this game that maybe you didn't expect could be done. And that is magic. We, we're bringing our own dreams to life. When I say the inspiration hits and I have to put my head down, once my dancers actually make that happen and we get to sit back and watch it, it's literally pieces of my heart and my literal dreams walking around on a stage, happening right in front of me. It's amazing. But not only is it all of that, the people who are making this happen are my best friends, people I love. I want to hang out with these people. We do other things other than just rehearse, but we spend a lot of time together. These shows, they take hours and hours of rehearsals and preparation. And when something new happens, when something new comes out, when there's a new raid, a new expansion, we have to do all of this work. And a lot of times we do it together, or at least some of us do. It's this wonderful synthesis of all of my favorite things and my favorite people. And I get to do it all the time, every week. And that is, that's kind of what drives me, is that there's, what can I do next to make all of this, just a wonderful experience? What's the crazy idea that's next that everyone is going to have the inside jokes about for the next year? And, these wonderful dancers, it doesn't matter what I throw at them. It doesn't matter how insane the idea is, or what we break. In the meantime, they do it and they do it well. And then they ask for more. And how can I ever say no to that? Sometimes it's their passion that drives me. And then I try to give it right back. I get excited, they get excited, I get excited because they're excited. And we kind of spin up all of us together. And we are literally making magic and dreams come true. Bringing dreams to life. That's why I get out of bed in the morning.
So let me ask you this. Say that someone is listening to this because they are a Clockwork Angels fan, or say that someone has decided that following this interview, they're hopefully going to go to your YouTube channel and they're going to watch some of these performances. What do you, as a member of Clockwork Angels, want people to take away from a performance? What do you want them to think about or know, or, as I said, take away when they're watching Clockwork Angels?
Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream, you can make it happen, because we do.
That is very powerful, and I like that. I like that a lot. And you know what? I'm going to say that I hope people feel the same way when they listen to this podcast. Because from Coffee and Carbuncles to Clockwork Angels to anything performance-wise, content-wise in 14, all of it starts out as just a stray thought in someone's head.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And then gets translated into the production that people end up seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing I feel that we've covered pretty well in this episode, It takes work. I mean, there's definitely from your dance troupe to my podcast production, there's work involved. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of time dedication that needs to be put into that. But the results, I mean, just like you said, when you're able to see something that started out as this small thought become this tangible, real thing that not only becomes real, but then you hear from other people how it affected them. It is the most amazing thing in the world.
It really is. It makes all of the work absolutely worth it
Every
every
bit.
time.
God, now I'm gonna start crying too. Gosh. Oh goodness. Contagious.
Well, when you're passionate about something, it comes out.
It does.
Whether it comes out as tears or any other form, it has meaning and it's wonderful.
As we get towards the end of this interview, I feel like we've covered a lot.
But
I
there's so
mean,
much more.
there definitely is. And I from starting to plan this interview, to getting to know you better, I'm definitely becoming more of a fan of Clockwork Angels. Not that I wasn't a fan already, but obviously there's a difference between, hey, cool, Clockwork Angels is at this venue, to actually getting to know more about the behind the scenes stuff and the work that goes into it. But
You have a connection now. You've made a connection.
right,
Not only, what we do, but maybe the people. And that's important. Hey, that's my friend up there on the stage doing that awesome thing.
so I know that we've talked about the upcoming performances tonight, tomorrow, next Thursday. Next Thursday, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to share or tease for those that are listening that are already big fans of Clockwork Angels? Any little like spoilers or teasers you want to drop or anything that's being worked on?
So twice a year, we have all Bunny Boy shows where everyone in the group Fantas to a Bunny Boy. And our springtime performance was delayed because we took a break. But Rabbit Hole, which is what we call our spring performance, will be on July 12th. It will be one performance, one night only, possibly up to a 2-hour long performance. But it's all Bunny Boys all the time. And it's one of our favorite things to do as a group. We have so much fun with it. And we get to be goofy and we get to be hot and take our shirts off. It's a great time. We have Rabbit Hole in the spring and Bunsgiving in November. But yes, July 12th. It will be officially announced with location and all the details tomorrow, I think, or possibly Monday. But yes, Rabbit Hole in July 12th. And it will be on Dynamis this year. It's going to be great. I've been designing a stage for it. It's going to be awesome. all of my angelers are excited. We were talking after rehearsal last night about all of their different ideas that they want to use. It's going to be great. I'm just going to keep saying that.
I am sitting here a little slack-jawed trying to think of how to respond to that. And I want to ask two questions, but I'd like you to answer after I've asked both of them.
Okay. I'll keep my mouth shut.
So the first question is the song Hot Stuff by Donna Summer involved with this? And the second question is, what is the track list like for something like that?
The first answer is it could be if you wanted to write it. But the second answer is it depends. It's generally a lot of boy bands, which is great. Um, but this year our theme is rock stars. We try to have a varying theme for the Bunny Boys shows, just as a kind of like a guiding, you know, stick with, this kind of, vibe at least. But yeah, there's a lot of songs with shirtless Bunny Boys dancing, and sometimes a little more than that comes off. But yeah, it's fun. Bunsgiving a couple years ago was three distinct chunks. There was like traditional boy bands, and then there was like a meme section in the middle where we did just goofy stuff. And then the end was hot. It was spicy. So, that was just happened to be the way it played out that year. I don't know what this year's going to look like. They all have all kinds of ideas. And we just went through a couple weeks of dance boot camp where we all learned a lot. I basically, it was like 2 hours each night for 6 days in a row. And we talked about all of the things, all of the different technical details and how to do different crazy things, and how to use this or that. And they all had so many ideas following those. So I'm excited to see what all of my angels come up with after that. It was intense, but it was great. It was good.
Oh wow, so you guys have full workshops and everything.
Yes.
Wow. That is dedication.
Um,
Goodness.
so I mean, those are the things, at that point I used to, so let me back up. Uh, I will frequently have 101 sessions, Macrodancing 101, which is the basic. The just the basic things. This is how macros work, and this is how the syntax works, and a couple things here and there. Every once in a while, we'll dive into something a little deeper. But there's so much knowledge that ends up getting siloed that way. So it was basically a brain dump for 6 days in a row of all of the things that I know, that anyone else has ever told me, just sharing it so that everyone has all of the tools at their disposal. And, they run with it. They run with it. Sometimes we will have nights where it's just, we call them right togethers, where everybody just kind of gathers in the same spot and works on stuff. And if you have questions, there are people there to answer it. Or, if you need someone to help you test something, there are bodies available. So yeah, it's a thing. We do a lot of that. You need to do more of it. I told you I'm serious.
I am definitely getting that. And it shows. I mean, I sit here and chuckle, but if anyone's ever seen one of those performances or plans to after this, the dedication shows, and it does make for some amazing performances. Well, you sound like you're going to say something.
I was one of my dancers. She likes to say, because we have a song that we do called "Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat." That everyone loves. But she says eat, sleep, rehearse, repeat. Because there are some weeks where we have rehearsals every night leading up to a performance. Or rehearsals every night leading up to multiple performances. I keep telling myself that I am going to scale back. I'm going to scale back. We are not going to have that many performances in a week. Clearly, that hasn't happened yet. There is a physical limit to the amount of time we have and the amount of macro space we have for performances that are happening at the same time. And we keep hitting it. We keep hitting it. So I'm like, all right, I need to stop like planning so much. But then we get bored. But yeah, eat, sleep, rehearse, repeat. That's our lives.
I can respect that. I'm also familiar with that song, so that does help a little, but
It's a great song. I love
it
it.
is. Well, we've discussed that we both have plans this evening. Oddly enough, the same plans. Dinner and then
Yep.
the same event. Go figure.
Hmm.
So I have to ask, you're not also having split pea soup for dinner, are you? Because if we're also having the same dinner,
I
I'm
am
gonna be a
not.
little scared. Okay, good.
I am
Good.
not. I'm
Okay.
having lasagna.
Very different. Good.
Yes.
Let's keep it that way.
I'm in your walls. I know what you're doing.
Oh gosh, please don't steal my carbuncles. Anyway, so I really genuinely feel like I could carry this interview on for another hour,
I can definitely talk about this for a long time.
but we would both be jeopardizing our plans.
Yes.
So I think it's safer for both of us if this is the part of the interview where I wrap things up and I ask if you have questions that you would like to ask me because you have been so generous with your time this afternoon.
Well, I always like to ask, anyone who said they've watched our videos or been to our shows if they have a favorite. Um, so do you have a favorite? Something that we've performed?
I do, and people can actually go to your YouTube channel and watch it. It is Let It Go from the Starlight Festival 2025 performances.
Yeah,
I not only do I enjoy Let It Go as a song, I'll admit it, but I thought that just the performance was so well coordinated and the use of those ice flowers was genius. I mean, I love that video from start to finish, but it's from about 3 minutes to about 3:20, 3:30, where you really see ice blooms everywhere. Sorry to spoil it. Um, and I remember watching that and just being like, oh my gosh, that is amazing.
that was absolutely a special performance. A very magical moment for all of us to see it work. Because we don't always know, even after we rehearse something, if it's going to work, if it's going to work in the performance, if it's going to connect, if it's going to make sense. But that was awesome. Um, and it was, we've done that song many times, indoors, outdoors, um, and yeah, the typical performer, she's done it as multiple races, like as a Lala or as an Aura, but this time was a bunny girl, and it changed the vibe of the song. But then we added in the yokoi mounts. I cannot remember what they're called with their ice flowers. And I had another dancer under the stage with the polar bear, and that's where the big snowflakes were coming from. But yeah, that was all coordinated with macros. And I'm not going to get into the technical details because if I start talking about that, that's going to be a whole nother hour, or two. But yeah, it was amazing, and the way it worked. Doesn't always work, but it worked that time. I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, what really struck me is you're watching the performance. You obviously, I mean, maybe not obviously, I know because I've been playing for a while. I know that some of the things going on are from the mounts, but you don't see any mounts. And they
I
are hidden very well.
know. We had and we had to uh Willow was the one who built that stage. She's one of my angels. Um and when we get to work with the person who's building the stage, it makes all the difference in the world. Because then we can put in special things just for stuff like that. Um but the mounts were hidden, and they were underneath the snowmen who were different mounts on the stage, because those weren't snowmen decorations; they were sort of snowmen mounts on the stage. So we're hiding everything. And one of the properties of that flourish for the Yokoi mount is that it shows up on top of the surface of whatever it's being aimed at. If it had only gone on the ground, it wouldn't have worked. But it would show up on the surface, and it was great. And it would like flow down, like from the top down, and it's just, yeah, wonderful.
I could not agree more.
So my second question is if you would ever consider dancing. I always ask that for everyone too.
I
Do you want to dance?
I'm gonna be very lazy about this answer. And I'm going to preface it by saying that I am a podcast host, not a macro dancer or professional dancer or even someone who dances much IRL. So let me just put that out there first. If all of the macros were made for me and I just had to stand there and click, you bet. Anything beyond that, I just don't know. And that's not even like a laziness thing. It is I would not have the available free time to be at 3 or so weeks of rehearsal for it.
That is a very fair answer.
What now if you ever like prepared macros for me and you're like, can you show up and stand there and just click this when I tell you, I would consider it. I would genuinely consider it because I could likely realistically do that. But if it was like, let's have 3 weeks of rehearsal and trying to like get emote timing down, I don't know if I'd have the free time, unfortunately.
I'm glad you can admit that because it does take a lot of time and a lot of work. Even just standing there and clicking buttons, there's more to it than you think there is. There is.
I will level with you though. If I ever did, if I was like a special guest at a Clockwork Angels performance, I want you to know that I would be sharing that YouTube video with everyone and probably not shut up about it for a solid 2 weeks.
I will keep that in mind.
I'd be like, look what I made my character do. Everyone come watch this. I
Well,
would
it's
be
just like
such a
getting
little
on a
kid about
stage
it.
for real. Like, look what I did. Look
Yeah.
what I did.
Yeah. So I am
We've had guests
open-minded
before.
about the idea. Schedule willing, of course. Except I will say that I don't usually Fantasia, so I will not be appearing as a bun boy. I can rule that out.
Oh,
I'm sorry to my
oh,
listeners. Sorry. I
oh.
understand if you want to unsub now.
It's okay. They're not for everyone. It just means more for me. That's all.
And this is how this interview ends up getting so many dislikes. People are like, I was with you for everything up until the refusal to Fantasia to Bun Boy.
It's okay. We have dancers of all shapes and sizes. We do. And not everyone, even in Clockwork Angels, will join in on the Bunny Boy shows for whatever reason. And like I said, everything's voluntary. So I'm never going to require someone to Fanta. That would be silly. That would be like rude. um, so it's like if you don't want to, that's fine. There are other jobs you can do to still participate in that event for my dancers that don't involve you being a bunny boy. Um, and then there are always plenty other shows that don't involve, being a bunny boy at all. It's a shame though, because they're so pretty.
Look forward to Nobutaka as Snowman second from the left this December.
You laugh. I
Oh
make
my.
things happen.
I'll be there at the end credits, second to last, just like second from the left. Snowman number 3, Nobutaka.
We might need an Olaf. You never know. It could happen.
Maybe. Maybe it could happen. All right. Well, Solara and I are going to go get to our dinners.
Yes.
Before we end up plotting like a full Frozen reenactment through Macrodance.
I've done
Solara,
that.
thank you.
I have plans. You have no
I can
idea.
tell,
I
and
have
I'm a
such
little
huge
scared.
plans. But yes, there is work to be done before tonight. So off we must go.
Obviously, I wish you and all the other members of Clockwork Angels so much luck for tonight and tomorrow's performances. And we spoke before the interview. We've both had very busy days. I'm going to try my best to stay up for tonight's performance and be there. I wish I could make a better promise than that.
I will try to be awake for it too.
Deal. We will both do our best, and I will see you this evening.
Thank you very much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And I look
I
forward to
appreciate you taking the time.
hearing it when you get it out.
It will
And
hopefully be
sharing it with
out.
everyone.
Um, Thank you, first of all. I want to say probably tomorrow afternoon, like maybe probably about 2 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around there.
Awesome.
I will definitely ping you on Discord and let you know.
Wonderful. That's perfect. That is perfect.
All right.
Hopefully,
Well,
I see you later. If not, it's okay. I hope you have a lovely night.
I will dream about being at a Clockwork Angels performance. How about that?
Perfect.
I will be there in dream.
Perfect. So I know
On my
tonight if
bed
I
of
have
files.
dreams where something goes wrong in a performance, it's your fault.
Oh no. All right. Well,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
on that note, take care, Solara.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Before I move on to the outro, I just want to take a minute and say thank you very much for coming back for season 4 of Coffee and Carbuncles. I am so excited for this season, and I can't wait for you to see all of the guests that I have coming by this time. I don't want to give anything away, but this season I have some really unique guests lined up that I think you'll find pretty interesting. Also, before the interview, I asked Solara to pick 1 or 2 YouTube videos that she feels best displays Clockwork Angel's talent. So I hope you'll check those links in the show notes and hopefully check other videos as well. Alright, now for the outro. Hopefully you enjoyed having Solara here as much as I did. She is such a passionate person, and as someone who also devotes a lot of time to their passion projects, I feel she and I are really able to understand one another's level of commitment. I think when you see a performance, it's not only important to take in the performance itself, but also to consider the planning and all the coordination that has to go into it. It is my genuine hope that getting to know Solara better and hearing all about Clockwork Angels has inspired you to attend their next performance. But until then, you're always welcome here at this cafe. And whenever you're exhausted from adventuring or just need a place to relax while doing other work, you can always come back here. So, with that being said, I'll see you next time, dear friend, with a warm drink and wonderful guests. Take care.